Good afternoon, Class A football fans, and welcome to Saints TV, the Class A preview, review, and look ahead show. I guess what we're going to go with. We're still looking for a name. If you have one out there, please let us know. But we are back here. Week 7 has wrapped up, headed into week 8. We're going to bring you quick cast. Here's what we're going to call this, about 10 minutes. Quick recap of what happened last week. We'll talk a little bit about what might be coming up, how those district standings are going to play out as we head into week number 8, and then we'll go through the latest rankings. So let's jump right in and recap those week 7 results. St. Steve, the saintly soothsayer, had himself a week last week. If you missed it, go back and watch last week's Class A episode as we talk about some of the excitement that we might have seen here throughout the week. 4 key results, 4 games that we focused on. Maquoketa Valley versus North Lynn. Steve had Maquoketa Valley. Maquoketa Valley gets it done. They go from unranked, knock off number 5 North Lynn in what was a very good game early. My understanding is the final score not necessarily indicative of how that game went, but Maquoketa Valley walks away with it 35-16. Maquoketa Valley beats undefeated and number 5 North Lynn. ACGC Mount Air, this one went as expected as well, with ACGC coming away with a big win, 40-14 over Mount Air. So ACGC remains undefeated. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch any of their footage. Their games are streamed. You should go find it if you're a fan of Class A football. They look like they are legit and the real deal here as we head into the playoffs. ACGC 7-0 through 7 weeks. Earlham and Riverside in a key matchup there. And as Steve predicted, Riverside wins that matchup. Was a good game, but Riverside comes out on top in that one. They roll 41-6, was tight early, but Riverside jumped all over them from that point forward and carried that one. 41-6, Riverside wins over Earlham. So Earlham was ranked 6th last week. They will find themselves out of the top 10 this week. We'll talk more about that here in just a moment. Tri-Center Neola Woodbury Central, another key matchup from last week. That was basically a district championship game. Tri-Center wins that one 34-8 is the final there. Tri-Center will be the district champion coming out of that district. Some other key scores from around the state. West Hancock continues to roll. They beat Lake Mills 60-6. Lisbon continues to look impressive as well. They remain undefeated, win 50-7 over Danville. North Butler shocks Nashua Plainfield. They didn't just beat them, they beat them 22-0. Nashua Plainfield a little beat up is my understanding. Lost on a senior night 22-0 at home to North Butler. We talked about Northland, Maquoketa Valley, Sibley Ocheyedan and HMS. Sibley Ocheyedan wins that one. They run away with it. 48-14 is the final. Sibley Ocheyedan beats Hartley Melvin Sanborn. Southwind and North Tama in a game that'll go a long way to adding more confusion to that district. We'll get to that here in a moment as well. But Southwind beats North Tama in an offensive shootout, 44-36. And in your last game, kind of with key impacts, Starmont, the number 10th ranked Starmont team, loses to Bellevue 40-35. Again, 75 combined points in that one. Bellevue beats Starmont. Starmont's going to go from the 10th ranked team in all of Class A to the 4th place team in their own district this week. Crazy to see how that district has played out as well. So those are your key matchups from last week as we look through some of those results and some things to watch. So how does that impact your standings? Well, here you go. Here are your updated IHSAA football standings following week 7 action in Class A. We'll look at the top 4 districts here. District 1, Galen Catholic, MMCRU, Sibley Ocheyedan, and Hartley Melvin Sanborn. Those are going to be your 4 qualifiers. I don't think there's any way anything can happen to change that. And change the order for that matter. So this appears like it will be your 4 and the order. District 2, West Hancock, we talked about, they continue to roll. They have that win in week 3 over St. Ansgar. That's the difference in that one. They will be your District 2 champion. St. Ansgar plays Lake Mills this weekend on Friday night, assuming that one goes the way everybody thinks it will. The Saints will finish second. Newman Catholic beat Lake Mills earlier this year, so they will be the 3. Lake Mills likely the 4 in District 2. District 3, Wapsie Valley, Nashua Plainfield, North Tama, and South Winneshiek are your qualifiers in all likelihood, but nobody knows in what order those are going to be. Wapsie Valley plays Nashua Plainfield. Right? Everybody's beating each other in that district. So the winner there is your likely champion, or excuse me, not your likely. That is a championship game, essentially. That's a District 3 championship game, is Wapsie Valley versus Nashua Plainfield. So that'll be a game we'll be watching. Then the others will sort themselves out. We may go to tiebreakers in that one. District 4, Maquoketa Valley is your champion after the victory over North Lynn last week. Bellevue and Starmont are going to be right there as well. North Lynn versus Bellevue this week. So we will see that one play out. Bellevue still has a chance to get the number 2 spot in District 4 with a win over North Lynn. Starmont, we talked about it before. You know, they went from 10th ranked to they're going to finish 4th in their own district after losing to Bellevue last week. District 5 looks like this: Lisbon, Pekin, Columbus, Community, and Danville. Again, those are your 4. Columbus plays Danville for the 3-4 spot here this week. So that one will play itself out here in week 8 as well. In District 6, Madrid, Mount Ayr, Linville, Sully, and Wayne. It's kind of same story there. These are set. Those will be your 4 qualifiers, and I believe in that order. District 7, ACGC, Riverside, Earlham, and South Central Calhoun. Earlham and South Central Calhoun play each other for the 3 spot in this district. So they'll play this week to settle officially that 3-4 spot. ACGC has the win over Riverside, so they will be your District 7 champion. And in District 8, Tri-Center Neola, Woodbury Central, Logan Magnolia, and St. Albert are your top 4. St. Albert versus Westwood for the 4 spot. So that will be an elimination game, essentially. It's a playoff game for both Westwood and St. Albert in that District 8 matchup in week 8. Win or go home for both of those teams in District 8. So we'll kind of see that play out. The top 3 there are set. They're making the playoffs. Like I said, the 4 will be determined by that game on Friday night. So there are your district standings through week 7 and a couple of the key matchups that we'll be focused on as we look into week 8 here in Class A football. So what does the state do ranking wise? Well, we kind of joked about it last week that the rankings didn't change, right? That everybody, they just kind of reprinted the same thing. Well, they had their work cut out for them this week with the 5, the 6, and the 10 all losing last week. And they look like this. North Lynn falls from 5th to 10th with that loss. So North Lynn's now the number 10 team. Starmont falls out of the ratings. Riverside in at 9. Pekin at 8. Maquoketa Valley breaks the rankings all the way up there at 7. As you'll see, Earlham drops out of those rankings as we indicated earlier. Maquoketa Valley, the 7 now in the Class A football poll. Number 6, Galen Catholic. Lamar's Tri-Center Neola is 5th. Lisbon remains 4. St. Ansgar remains 3. ACGC 2. And West Hancock number 1 in all of the land. I think those top 4 did not change this week. I don't anticipate any of the top 10 unless we see something crazy happen. Maybe North Lynn loses to Bellevue, things like that. I don't anticipate we see a lot of change in these going into the final week. Hard to believe this is week 8 and we are already into the last regular season football game coming up here on Friday night. But the last edition of these rankings will come out next Monday. That will be the final rankings as they get published. And we will head into the postseason where they will use these to determine matchups throughout the playoffs. So remember, 32 teams will qualify, 4 in each district, as we just went through. They'll play one game, so they'll have a game assignment. Those assignments will come out on Saturday morning, sometime between 10 and noon. We're being told we will see those this coming Saturday morning after week 8 action is all reported. We'll get those initial 16 matchups of those 32 teams, right? Then the 16 winners are reseeded into 4 pods. 4 14 pods. We'll get those after the first round of the playoffs. And then that reseeding process happens again into the semifinal round once we get into the dome. So that's your Class A recap and quick cast here for the week as we look at rankings and standings. Thanks for joining us and for tuning in here to Saints TV. We'll be back later in the week with some of those key matchups for week number 8. Thanks for playing along. We'll see you next time.